Okay, we continue with the chapter 4.7, in which safety for transportation activity and also gas cylinder safety. This is basically gas for the welding. So we are looking at the workplace transport hazard, in which when we define workplace transport means that vehicle used in the workplace or the vehicle that being loaded or unloaded on the public road next to the workplace. Okay, for example, the truck at the shipyard, the forklift, and what are the place transportation hazard? Sometimes people struck, run over or crushed by vehicles in the workplace, vehicle colliding with each other, people falling from the vehicles, and also item falling from the vehicle. So the objective is one to have a safe site, safe vehicles, and safe driver. Okay, let's look at the video for the transportation safety at the workplace.
Many people are killed in the workplace each year. At NICEPAC, it's essential that you're continually aware of vehicles in your area. 100% awareness of what is going on around you is essential. No-go areas have been created in the warehouse to reduce the risk associated with workplace transport. Specifically, reversing vehicles pose significant risks. A limited number of authorized people are permitted in areas where vehicles may be reversing. Never take shortcuts. If there is a pedestrian door next to a vehicle door, always use it. Never be tempted to use a vehicle doorway. Always use the designated walkways and crossing points provided. Always wear high visibility clothing in areas where it's been designated. All junctions and areas with limited visibility have a traffic mirror to enable you to observe vehicle movement. Use them for your own safety.
Okay, what are the control measures for the transportation hazard? So you can see from the design and layout of the road system at the workplace. Make sure that the road is wide enough for the truck to turn. One-way system which are necessary to go around the plant. Avoid sharp and blind bend. Use mirror at the corner. And also make sure the entrance is wide enough for the truck to in and out. The other control measure cover the speed limit, signpost, use the speed hump, display permanent sign when necessary, and provide screen for protection from the exhaust fume. And for the pedestrian can be the workers, can be the visitor. So separate roads for the pedestrian like this. Okay, very clearly sign and everything. Okay, and provide barrier is the best. Forklift should be indicated by the floor line so they know which path to take, and have the crossing like this, and separate vehicles and pedestrian door so they have a proper door, and should be the pathway for the public should be clearly posted. And these are the example of using separate doors. So we cannot, as a pedestrian, we cannot use this door for the vehicles and also for the access, because it is very dangerous to walk or to be at this area. And the parking area is very important too for the work and also private vehicle. The location must be well lit, and the loading base is very important. Should be at least one exit from lower level. So they have a clear sign for this and must be clearly marked and protect the edges, and also protect from the weather when they have rainy day, so they can use this shelter. And on the road construction, so make sure the surface used for the heavy vehicles must be proper, and keep the road free from obstruction, and also make sure that the drainage also have a good system to avoid the flooding and also avoid the steep gradients. And the lighting must be well lit, especially near the junction, near the pedestrian area, and the road sign are clearly at the relevant places, and especially put a warning sign at the sharp bends, steep gradient, and need to illuminate it or reflectorize the sign. The vehicle design itself, okay, nowadays vehicle safety have improved on the stability, on the braking system, on the protection, and they have proper protection from the weather and also from the environment. And when maintenance for the road must be visible for the sign and the road marking, and vehicles must be good in maintenance track, so that if anything that is not properly checked, so it can pose danger to the driver and also to the people around it, especially the brake. And then if you have this kind of truck, so it must be properly propped. Maintenance staff must be trained and competent. The driver selection is very important too. Make sure it fulfill all the requirements, and also make sure they have good training records, the proper certification for the vehicles. And for the contractor and visiting driver, also need to have the briefing on the safety and on the plan around the workplace. And very important for the reversing vehicle for the loading bay, and should install stop block or buffer. Must have reversing alarm, sensor, and also guide on the floor to help the driver. And sometimes you need use a banksman, we call it, okay, to guide the driver. Access onto the vehicles, make sure that only restricted to authorized person, the edge protection, and also have the proper ladder. And loading and unloading should be carried out away from the traffic, and it must be level and safeguard against a mechanical hazard from the tail lift, and apply brake. Do not overload the vehicles. And these are the tipping. So when they have the tipping, they should have the stop block, and it must go on the concrete block and away from the overhead lines. And for sheeting and non-sheeting, so it's very important so that it will carry out away from traffic and strong wind or bad weather to protect the things that they are carrying. And these are the code of practice and guideline produced by DOSH on the Occupational Safety and Health Industry Code for Practice for Road Transportation Activities 2010. And now we look at the gas cylinder safety, and let's watch the video on the gas cylinder safety.
Compressed gas safety procedures. A gas contained under pressure at normal room temperature and atmospheric pressure is known as a compressed gas. Compressed gas is usually stored in a steel or aluminum cylinder. All compressed gas cylinders are under high pressure and therefore present two separate hazards at the same time: chemical exposure from the substance inside the cylinder and physical injury if the cylinder explodes. The following basic safe work practices can help protect workers from the hazards of handling compressed gases. Read the safety data sheets and labels carefully, understand the hazards associated with compressed gases. Do not color codify compressed gas cylinders, as there is no uniformity in codification and may vary from one supplier to the next. Store compressed gas cylinders in cool, dry, well-ventilated areas away from ignition sources. Ensure that the storage temperature does not exceed 52 degrees Celsius or 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Store, handle, and use compressed gas cylinders while securely fastened in their place in an upright position. Close all valves when cylinders are not in use, and understand how to handle emergencies, including worker injuries, leaks, or fires.
So that's all for the transportation and gas cylinder safety.